for those that are in the room, and an additional thanks for those that are on Zoom. In the future, I sure hope we could get this a little bit better organized. Angel's doing her best, and Angel, thank you very much for all the efforts that you put into pulling these meetings off. So I guess it would be 2:03 p.m. that we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. So has everyone had a chance to look at the agenda? I assume you have, so I'm going to ask that I approve the agenda. Do we have a second?
I had made comments on other items that should be added to the agenda that I think are pertinent, but apparently you kind of approved them beforehand.
Okay. Bill, I can tell it to you, but my phone is not allowing me
Yes, it's me.
to raise your voice to be able to hear you. Let me try one thing here. Okay, Bill, can you say that again, please?
I had sent an email back when we got the reports, and I had some comments of additional items that I think should be added onto the agenda.
I did. I went through that and read that, and thanks for sending that email to Angel. So, yes, after we get into the meeting, we can talk about those comments that you proposed.
And Randy,
So,
this is Angel real quick. We would like to make an amendment to the agenda to add the December board report. That is going to be in your handouts, though it wasn't included in the link earlier.
Okay, so I might not have it then handy, but that's fine. We'll get through it. So let's just move down through this numerically so we can get to the real core subject matter of this meeting. So we've called the meeting to order. I proposed approval of the agenda that's at hand. And do we have a second?
I second.
Okay. Approval of the meetings from the approval of the minutes from the September 22nd meeting, the last time we had our meeting. We all have read that and are fine with what we received in print.
I have
approve it.
I have a problem with it. It really doesn't incorporate comments that I made at that meeting regarding the solid waste management plan.
Okay, Bill. So can we put your basket of all of your stuff or all of your materials into one basket? Because I understand everything you're talking about. Truly, I truly do. And we're kind of sort of address all them at the same time. So I think this is just to approve the minutes, not to disagree with what's in them, but just to prove that the minutes, we all went through them and that we understand what the minutes were.
I had requested that my comments be officially put into the minutes of the meeting so they were on record.
Okay. Angel, would you like to address that?
I mean, if the minutes don't get approved, then that's something that we can discuss, but then we'd still have to go back and the comments and bring them back out and reapprove them.
Okay, so Bill, let's jump into that when we get talking about the email that you sent yesterday. And again, we'll bundle everything that you would like to talk about, because I would like to talk about it too, into that category. I'm just trying to get down so we can get to that. And technically, I have got to move through this 1, 2, 3, 4, so forth and so on. So I'm going to pass through 3. There was not a second of the approval of the meetings. Rather, there was a comment by Bill. Is there someone else in the room or on Zoom that would like to second so we can move on? Okay, number 3 is going to be left open. So we do not have approval of the minutes of that meeting.
Hold on. I said that I seconded so we can move on.
Okay. I didn't catch that. I apologize. So my hands must have been over the speaker. So we have a second, so let's move on. Introductions. I'm Randy Bowman, District 9. Let's go around the room, and anyone else who might be there, you please announce your name and where you're from.
Bill Grainett, District 6.
Lawrence Bryan, District 5.
Chris Vinay, Marine Corps Air Station Beaufort Liaison.
Sally Dennis, District 7.
Chloe McGuigan, I'm from Solid Waste and Recycling.
Artrell Horn, Beaufort County. Sergeant Matt Riccobetti, Beaufort County Sheriff's Office.
Angel Marcinkoski, Solid Waste and Recycling. Randy, we also have 2 from the public here. So on number 5 on the agenda, we are going to pause for that one.
Okay, we will after the introductions. Can I make a statement here?
Sure.
So I am sitting down in Bluffton because there were 2 responses of attendance, and you guys all know my frustration. There's so much work to be done, and we're not getting it done, and we got to get it done. So I simply want to encourage you to communicate with Angel, because as of 1 o'clock today, there were 2 people. 2 people. Excuse me, as of 11 a.m. today, I guess it was. Excuse me. As of 11 a.m. today, there were 2 people, and that's when I made this personal decision. Did I drive 2 hours for 2 people to be in the room? And I hope you understand where I'm coming from. I decided, no, I'm just going to Zoom it, and that's what I'm doing. So please correspond with Angel and confirm the validity of your attendance. And if you cannot attend, please note such, because I definitely would like to be there right now, and I'm frustrated that I'm not. But based on the information that I had previous to this call, it made no sense to drive 2 hours to meet with 2 people. Does that make sense?
I come from the same distance and I'm here.
Is Ken?
And if I don't mind, say Mike Bennett. I didn't get a chance. I'm on Zoom for.
Okay. Well, I hear what you say, Bill, but in the same vein, I think it's almost disrespectful of people's time to suggest I drove 2 hours, so you should. A person's time is individual to them, and I don't want to get into a confrontational discussion with you about that. But yesterday I spent 3 hours working on another agenda with Beaufort County, and I put a tremendous amount of time into this county in what I do. So when I think I'm going to have 2 participants and I make a decision to not attend the meeting, but rather to do it over Zoom, I do it based on my knowledge, not on Bill's going to be there. This does not make me happy at all, that we have people that are saying they're not going to be there because they don't respond, and then they're there. And you know, the last couple of meetings, I've gotten kind of upset because we are not organized, and we must become organized. And I know everyone agrees with that, but we're not doing it. We must do it, though. Okay, so after that long rant, Angel, you would like to move into the public comment?
Yes, let's go ahead and move into the public comment section. We do have 2 people here. Just as a reminder, you do have 3 minutes each. So whoever wants to go first, want to do it.
I'm Tom, and this is my wife, Shauna Sauer. We've lived in Beaufort for little over 2 years now, and one of the things that we're concerned about, we don't know if this is we're assuming this is the area, the group to come to, is just the amount of litter and trash that is all around. And on Spanish Moss Trail, along the roads, in the city, in unincorporated areas of the county, we sent letters and videos to some county board people and to the city of Beaufort and to people on Spanish Moss Trail. And we pick up trash every day, and we literally probably can fill multiple bags of trash every day. And I realize there's personal responsibility of people driving and throwing the trash out. We can't control that. But if there'd be some way to have more trash cans around on the trail or in the city or in some areas that would make it, I don't know, it's just such a beautiful, beautiful area. And it is sad that it is literally in places covered in trash. We were up on the Spanish Moss Trail, and forgive me because I don't know all the side roads and everything, but kind of by where the Toyota dealer is. And literally a dump truck full of garbage bags, tires, just left there. And we contacted the county, we contacted the city because we didn't know who had jurisdiction. They said, oh yeah, we're going to take care of it, Well, that was in November or December. We went by there the other day and I realized that is probably not the number one priority, but nothing's been done by what we can see, or else it's been refilled by people who are too lazy to take care of their own trash. And it's just something that, I don't know, it just could enhance the community so much. Tourism.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. Because you're probably approaching your 3-minute mark. I'm an extreme advocate of what you're talking about right now. I don't think we want to get into that in this particular meeting, but I'd like to invite you to do this. Angel, you have my phone number. Could you please give it to this gentleman? And can you please text me, that's my cell phone number, a time that you and your wife will be available, and I will call you, and we can talk over a conference call, and I will fill you in with as much knowledge as you would like to know on where we've been and where we're going as it pertains to this problem. If I started to talk about it right now, we would blow through an hour easy, and I wouldn't even be probably halfway done. So there's a tremendous amount that's going on. So would that be acceptable to you, to the three of us, your wife, yourself, and myself, to have an independent discussion that's just informative for you sometime later today?
Sure.
Okay, Angel, can you please take care of making sure he has my number? Okay. Second person, as far as public comment?
Oh, we don't need to discuss it any further.
Okay. Was it in regards to litter, so forth and so on?
I'm Tom's wife, so I was just gonna.
Oh, I got you.
You're just gonna double our time.
Or have a family affair. Or have a family affair. Will you be available this afternoon?
Yes.
So we can.
Yes.
Okay. Good. So yeah, I look forward to explaining some things, and I think that you will be shocked and very sick of the labors that have gone into some of the matters and where we envision. And when I say we, I start with council, and then I look down to Eric and Jared and the whole long list of everybody. We're all in this together, and we got some good things to talk to you about. So, how about updates regarding meetings with your county councilman? Has anyone had an opportunity over the holidays to sit and drink a beer or have a coffee with our councilman?
I would love to be able to get a hold of them. I made phone calls and their voice box is full, so and emails. I haven't heard back from any of them.
Same, I emailed, but I haven't heard back from them.
Okay, so could you please forward those 2 emails to me that you sent that went unanswered? Because this is exactly to the core of what I'm talking about. I've been doing this for 7 years since I moved here, and I'm about ready to implode. I apologize. You can hear the attitude in my voice. I'm sorry. I'm a nice guy. I don't get upset. But please forward those 2 emails that went unaddressed, because that's totally unacceptable. Totally. You're board members. You're important people. And when you ask questions of your council person needs to respond to you. Period. That's how this game works. If it doesn't work that way, we don't have a game. We are all on separate individual pages.
Yeah, I would love to sit down and talk to them.
I
Yeah,
haven't
so please-
updated.
please.
Anybody's watching Zoom.
Go ahead, Mike.
Okay. To your point, Randy. Okay, so I didn't have a meeting with my councilman and my county councilman, but there has been a lot of work in the background with the town of Hilton Head and the county, specifically Neil and Cindy. And if you guys remember back in the September meetings, and if you in the agenda, it was written that we had a initial resolution that went forward and approved by the town, which was kind of a vague show of sign of support for the county initiatives with addressing the solid waste problem, Act, MERF, all that stuff. It was kind of an overdress, and I read those into the minutes. And I had mentioned there that there was a second resolution coming out. So I'm about to read you the second resolution because I think it's very important to hear the support getting out of Hilton Head for all of us for a little bit of morale booster. But what was interesting after that first, the town immediately issued the town engineer to start discussions with a group of people to create a collaboration, and they did. And that collaboration included Cindy Carter, Neil Dasani from as the public works director of the county, myself as the liaison, town staff, town engineer Jeff Buckaloo, and Peter Christian, who is the Sustainability Advisory Committee chairman. We meet monthly and we discuss very specific progress in all sorts of sustainability, but most importantly, the MRF systems and any sort of single hauler waste discussions and transportations. So if it's okay, I'm going to read you what the resolution is. This was just approved. It took a while for us to get it approved because we had to get in front of a brand new council at the town, and anytime you're kind of re-educating when that happens. So it took it, but we got it approved as of last Tuesday. And this resolution is a little more specific as far as the direction that the town wants the county and is willing to work with the county on. And it was approved, I think, 5-2. And so anyway, if it's okay, are you guys okay if I read this?
Yeah, please read it, Mike.
Okay. So Greater Island Council of Hilton Head Island and Bluffton. This resolution is recommending the Hilton Head Town Council and Beaufort County Council work together with the support of Greater Island Council to develop a sustainable and viable long-term residential solid waste management and recycling agreement to improve the efficiency of solid waste disposal, recycling, and composting on Hilton Head Island and in Beaufort County. Whereas the Beaufort County contracted landfill is owned by Waste Management, is nearing capacity, and endangers Beaufort County's ability to have a viable long-term solid waste and recycling and organic disposal strategy. Whereas Beaufort County's current contract with Waste Management expires in 2025. Whereas the current residential solid waste landfill and recycling processing agreements between Beaufort County and Waste Management present a disincentive to recycling by adding additional costs to recycle material haulers, thereby resulting in reduced recycling materials being processed. Whereas Beaufort County is taking steps to have greater control of solid waste and recycling by constructing a material recovery facility in southern Beaufort County to replace the contract for the use of the waste management recovery. Whereas Beaufort County's new material recovery facility is intended to optimize efficient solid waste disposal, increase recycling tonnage, and collect organic composting materials, all of which have financial advantage to the county. Whereas the town of Hilton Head Island, our plan, which is their comprehensive plan, and planning guidelines document has several goals to ensure the long-term viability of solid waste disposal, increasing recycling, and improving organic waste collection. Whereas the town of Hilton Head is undergoing a SWOT analysis to identify steps to take to ensure that the island has a viable long-term plan for the management, effective and efficient transferring of solid waste, recycling, and organic waste. Whereas the town of Hilton Head's solid waste, recycling, organics, composting will require close coordination with the Beaufort County, as the island's recycling materials will be sent to Beaufort County's MRF once constructed and operational. Whereas following the county construction of the MRF, the town of Hilton Head should work with the county to procure contracts with single haulers in geographical areas of the town instead of multiple haulers, which would support the county's goals to optimize efficient solid waste disposal, increase tonnage, recycling tonnage, and collect organic composting. Whereas, almost through, whereas the Hilton Head Convenience Center should be expanded to allow for the greater collection of residential single stream recycled material and to include organic material, and to allow residential haulers serving Hilton Head Island a place to offload their trucks, further saving money by eliminating daily trips for Hilton Head to whereas a Southern Beaufort County MRF and improved and expanded Hilton Head Island Convenience Center would allow for more favorable terms in negotiating with single stream recycling and organic waste haulers who would no longer have to make expensive and fuel consuming trips to the management landfill. Whereas the town of Hilton Head has asked the Greater Island Council to work with the leadership of the town and Beaufort County to develop a viable long-term solid waste, recycling, and organics management strategy. Now, therefore, the Greater Island Council of Hilton Head and Bluffton will engage with the leadership of Beaufort County and the town of Hilton Head Island to achieve a viable long-term solid waste recycling organic solution, including the following. And these are the key initiatives. Number one, to support the initiatives by Beaufort County to construct material recovery facility south of the Broad to process and dispose of recycled materials and organic waste, thereby reducing waste deposit to waste management landfill, extending the life of the landfill, and reducing costs to the county residents. Number two, following the county's construction of the recovery facility, initiatives by the county in securing a single stream recycling and organics waste hauler for single family residential properties to reduce the number of providers and trucks on Hilton Head Island, resulting in reduced costs, reduced congestion, improved recycling tonnage and accountability. Number three, improve and expand the Hilton Head Island Convenience Center to include recycling and composting of organics material to further elevate the level of island recycling, reduce costs, the long-term needs of Hilton Head Island and Beaufort County. Number four, consider expanding the Hilton Head Island Convenience Center into a solid waste and recycling transfer station. Haulers, save fuel, and reduce on and off traffic on the island. That was accepted and adopted into the as a resolution for the town effective of last Tuesday. And when they went into their strategic plan this over the past weekend, they immediately issued the SWOT analysis, and are going to begin moving forward on those specific issues. So a lot of work over the past few months getting this stuff done, but I think it really lines up with county's initiatives. It's a great partnership, between the two, and really kind of hopefully lines up with everybody. Thank you.
First and foremost, Mike, thanks very much. I do have one question though. Did Glenn write that?
Who's Glenn?
He's on your town council and he's an attorney. It sounds just like him. So
no,
okay.
we got some pretty strong attorneys on the Sustainability Advisory Committee.
Well, I think everything that is in there sounds great and good, and I would like to talk to you in great length. I've been meaning to call you. My apologies for not calling you because there has been a tremendous amount of work that has been done over the last couple of months in regards to what you just discussed. So running parallel with you is Beaufort County. And when we get into our session where we have a roundtable discussion, we can talk more about it. But that's fantastic. So Port Royal Sound, Hilton Head Island, ourselves, I mean, we have a lot of momentum at the moment. And my biggest concern is that we have a hiccup and lose the momentum, and or we implode because of reasons like it would have happened here regarding today's meeting and attendance. So I appreciate it, Mike. Man, you're always on board. I see your trucks more and more. Go I-2. moving on to, are there any comments on the solid waste and recycling November report?
Didn't get one.
So real quick, the November was included. Like I said, the December wasn't. It's in that packet right now. There have been no significant changes for November or December to cause changes in expenses, tonnage, or the trend line. Mr. Greener has presented staff and the chairman with questions and comments on the interpretation of the board report, the data they provide, and the terms used. Since this was a lot of information and we didn't want to take away from the discussions here today, we suggest maybe scheduling a workshop where we go over the board reports, the information, how it's presented, and the terms used, and then we can review all that then. If that's something the board is interested in, we can get that scheduled.
I would like to suggest that we adopt a resolution to have that workshop. Is there a second?
Second it.
When
Okay.
is there gonna be, because I'm only adding to what was just passed, because we need to talk a lot about this. We've been kicking it around. I've been here, 2 years on this board? And we've been kicking it around, and I see a lot of stuff going on that is not being addressed. The same things they have come and asked about, I still see it. As a matter of fact, I live in Laurel Bay area. There was a half a trailer sitting in the road. 7 o'clock in the morning when I was taking my granddaughter to school. And it sat there and sat there. And I went back home and came back. And a couple of us who didn't have too much to do pulled it off to the side of the road. So yeah, we need to talk about this as soon as possible.
Okay. And if that's something
Yeah,
we're interested in, we can get that together and get that date set as soon as possible.
Can I ask
So
a quick
Angel,
question?
would it be a,
Go ahead.
Angel, would it be okay to accumulate a couple of different dates and times and put them out to everybody? And we're just kind of sort of, vote the one that we can all make so that we can all be in attendance, because this is some important subject matter that we're discussing.
Yes, we can do that.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, whoever I interrupted, I apologize.
Oh, no, it's okay. It's me and you going back and forth on Zoom trying to. Just real quick, so let me just ask this question. When we say comments on the reports, do you want? I do have a couple questions about the tonnage reports and the traffic reports. Is that something we want to save? Is that what you're saying? You want to save that for the for a workshop, or do you want me to ask those questions now? And I'm not sure my questions can be addressed right now either.
So we probably want to save it, since we have changed the format of the meeting. The graphs and everything are no longer included in the presentation unless we receive comments before the meeting, so that can be included. So the slide you see up there, that's what we have right now. So we can get those comments together, do it at the meeting, the workshop that we scheduled.
Okay, perfect. You got it. We'll do.
So Mike, were you able to look at the maps that were most current and the data that was most current?
I'm looking at what was sent in the agenda.
Okay.
Is that what you're talking about?
And yeah, it is, exactly. So everybody else in the room, and Mike and I on Zoom, so I went through it and I didn't see any huge irregularities. So I really don't have, any significant comment. It's just the continuation of, in my opinion, the degradation, thus the requirement for us to uplift and kind of, start really getting something done. So, but nothing jumped off that sheet of paper that surprised me. And that's what, when I said, let's just send all that stuff out so people can look at it in advance. And if it jumps off the sheet of paper, we'll talk about it. If not, we'll pass by it because we have limited time and we have a lot to do. So is there anyone else there that saw anything on the collaterals, the information that was sent to you that that jumps off the page that you'd like to talk about?
I would save it for the meeting.
Okay. Save it for okay, so here, let me jump into this now. So we're going from 7 to 8. So I want to change how this board runs because we've got some intelligent people sitting around that table. We got people that obviously care or you wouldn't be there. And we're just not hitting on 8 cylinders. Thus, my suggestion, we need to change the meeting. They're throwing a bunch of data up and having Angel or Cindy or Caroline talk about it, that we look at it previous, and if we do see something that we are uncomfortable with, we talk about it. Otherwise, we just pass right through and we get to this open roundtable discussion where every single person in the room, and Mike and I on Zoom, where everyone participates, because we've just got so much. I'm going to start, and I'm going to give you a very, very, very brief summary of what I mean when I say a roundtable discussion. So, as you know, we've all talked about initiatives throughout the year. So there are 3 initiatives that we are starting the year off. And we are starting the year off with a bang on all 3 of them. And we're not communicating, so most of you don't know a lot of this. There are 2 E's. So E and E. First one is enforcement. Second one is education. And then the third one, obviously, is to continue and find our place in the world of a sustainability campus where some progress is being made. And I'm very, very hopeful on that. But let me tell you, on 1 and 2, so education, we had a meeting. When I say we, you guys were not there. I would like you to be there in the future, but it was the first meeting that we had, so it was inappropriate at the time. And I'll tell you, the participants, every chief of police in the county, the sheriff, PJ Tanner, the Department of Natural Resources, the Department of Public Safety. There were 2 fellows that couldn't get on that we had to have conversations thereafter to get them up to speed. But all of this is in regards to enforcement. All of it is in regards to enforcement. And we have a consensus that is unanimous that 2023 is the year for us to use education in every possible method we have, such that we notify the public we're not going to put up with this anymore. So starting in 24, there will be tickets, there will be citations, and we're going to do this through collaterals, through posters, through informational messages, via, however, the radio, television, we went all over the board. There's a lot of ways to get the word out. We're going to be talking to every contractor in the county. We are going to be giving them collaterals to be given to their employees, to be given to contractors that work for them, that state the same. These are the laws of South Carolina that will be abided by, and if they are not, we will react accordingly moving forward. So we're basically saying we're going to use this year to get everyone on board what they're doing and that it's wrong and that it can be corrected and it is an actionable event. So it'll be the definition of what is littering. It'll be the definition of how do you have to tether down materials in the back of your truck, so forth and so on. But we had some very high important people. I was extremely pleased. So our administrator, Eric Greenway, Eric was there, Jared was there, Neil was there. Our dear friend Dave Wilhelm was there. And then, like I said, in addition to that, we had state troopers there, a state trooper there. And then we had the balance of the other law enforcement agencies that meander the streets of Beaufort County. That is enormous, that people would take the time to attend a meeting. That room was full. To attend a meeting to discuss an actual move forward plan of action. In the past, we always talked about it, right? But we never did anything. We just talked about it. I forget who mentioned that earlier. I mean, Bill, that's probably you, Bill. You know, we talk about what we were going to talk about, what we're going to talk about. And it's like, well, the talk stopped that day and the walk started. And there's been a tremendous amount of correspondence, conversation, and we are moving forward in a very, very positive way when it comes to that E, enforcement. Secondarily, E, education. So this is something that is generational and that we're working on and have been working on. Again, this is where we all have to come together and work as one instead of a bunch of independents. We'll be much, much stronger. And if we talk to our councilmen and have them on board, or have everybody on board, and hopefully we'll be able to get this through a lot faster. So as far as education, I've met with Dr. Rodriguez, the superintendent of Beaufort County Public School System. He has assigned 4 his top folk to address education as it pertains to solid waste, recycling, and litter throughout the Beaufort County Public School System. I was in a meeting yesterday when I referenced I was working 3 hours yesterday for Beaufort County. I was in a meeting yesterday in which the writers of the curriculum that will be taught in Beaufort County Public Schools in 23, 24, and beyond. I was in a room and we were going through and we were discussing what we will and what we will not include. We have and are identifying specialists in certain areas. For example, stormwater runoff. I could give many of examples to help us write this curriculum. We have the green light, we have the permission, and we have the enthusiasm and encouragement of our school system to get this in the textbooks for our children to understand so that they, on a moving forward basis, can change Beaufort County forever. They don't know how to recycle. As we all know, our recycling, if there's anything in there that in any way less than 1% makes it dirty trash or makes it dirty litter rather, it's going in the landfill. So it's that type of thing that will go into a curriculum so that our children, as they become adults, this won't be a generational problem, but rather there have been the information that's required that much of this will stop. I'm also working through our 3 great friends in Columbia, Bill Herbskerman, Weston Newton, and Tom Davis. They are all incredibly supportive of this. I've had meetings with them. I'm going to continue my meetings with them. I've got a meeting with Bill Herbskerman tomorrow. I've got a meeting with Weston Newton on February the 10th. So in the background, I want you guys to see how I am trying as the chair to push an agenda forward that is, okay, Beaufort County, people that live here, people that work here, we're going to teach you what not to do. And if you disobey, we're going to start applying the law. And B, the children, the future generation of this county, we're going to teach them what is proper and what is. And then last but not least, Dave Wilhelm and Neil and Jared have been working their keisters off on sustainability campus. And hopefully this is the year that we will be able to become extraordinary partners with waste management and or we'll break away, and we will take this on ourselves, but it will get done. As I said, I moved here in 2015. This is my seventh year. And I can honestly sit and tell you this. When I moved here, there were 20 groups in Adopt a Highway. Today, there's 113. I can tell you that last year, we picked up over 100,000 pounds of litter. That's a lot of litter, and it's growing. So this has to happen. If it does not, I can't even imagine. There was a comment yesterday. I won't say the person's name, but a PhD, very well-respected person who will participate in writing the curriculum. That I moved here for the beauty of the county. I love driving to work early in the morning when the sun comes up, but it's not even close to what it was when I moved here, and it's so sad. And I have to agree with that, but we can fix it. So these are the type of things that we need to do in unison, all as one, as a team, not individually. Mike, I love what you're doing up over in Hilton. I love it. And I want to be part of that. I want everybody in that room to be part of that. And the same thing on all the initiatives, that I'm working on, from law enforcement through education and beyond. I want you all standing next to me, because all of us together are going to get it done. And especially if we communicate, as I said, with our representatives who sit on town council. I meet with Mark Lawson all the time. He's a very good friend of mine. So Mark pretty much knows everything. And he is completely supportive of it. So supportive of it that he, as you all know, I mentioned this before, he and his family joined Palmetto Pride and took their own stretch of Adopt a Highway last year, and they pick up on a regular basis and make sure that their section is clean. So we can get this done, you guys. But we got to do one hell of a better job than we are right now in communicating. So that is my beginning of the open roundtable discussion. I said a lot just now, and I will answer any and every question you pose to me. But these are the things we need to be working on. Through this, we can have individual specific assignments. Mike, do this, Bill, do that, so forth and so on. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yeah, but I do just want to say one thing, because it kind of sounds like you're saying that the county's not doing anything, but I mean, Archell and his team do a lot for enforcement. I know my guys have been stopped by other people actually do stuff, so it's not like it's not being done at all. Like, let's not negate what people are doing now.
I got a question. Most of the grown-ups, let's put it this way, all the grown-ups, starting from 18 to, I'm younger than you, to at least 71 years old, know what the fine is gonna be if they get caught littering on the highway. We go to the yard down here, there's a big sign there that says, no contractors, so grown-ups know, and I personally, we know, but we don't want to do. So why are we waiting at least a year to start enforcing the way you said it, the fines?
Mr. Bryan, I can't say this, we're not gonna wait. We've been actively working. As far as the sheriff's office, everyone knows, and I'm not making an excuse, but everybody knows there's a nationwide shortage on officers. Mm-hmm. You have Sergeant Riccobene here, who's the head, is a one-man army of a unit that used to be 4 men. He covers the entire county. His duties are, boat patrol, Defusky. I can let you, let him get into all that on what he does other than litter. Cindy, my boss, had a conversation with his supervisor a couple months ago where he's forced, his captain has had to force his own hand on making sure he has designated litter days to help us. The past month, he's been on 170, I mean, he can pull his stats up on his computer and show you how many roll-off trucks he stopped in the past weeks. He's been helping me on litter cases. So we are doing enforcement. We're actively doing it. You know, the meeting Randy spoke of, you know, where Sheriff Tanner and I believe the chief was there, like, there was no one at that table asked, hey, Highway Patrol, will you come and help us? He didn't offer help. You know, same with the Bluffton chief that was there. But we are actively working. The sheriff's office is actively working. Cindy also had a meeting with DNR where we just roped in all of the regional DNR where they're going to be out helping us on 278 and 170 with traffic. Because one of the primary issues we have in roadside litter is untarped, unsecured loads. This isn't stuff people are throwing out the window. We've been with Cindy. Me and Cindy been together for a while now, getting pamphlets together to take to every place that issues permits for buildings where contractors come pick up these permits, where they have that law, where they have that pamphlet about, you know, untarped, unsecured loads. So things are being done, and we plan to get down to the Homeowners Builders Association to go to a meeting or at least just hand out product for them to give out when they issue permits as well.
Okay. I understand that.
Let me make a statement here. Let me make a quick statement here. I am not in any way suggesting that Artrell and his gang are not doing their job. I'm not suggesting that. I'm stating the problem is bigger than Artrell and his gang. Right. And we have to go about it in a more macro way. So that's what I'm suggesting. Artrell sat in on that meeting. And Artrell, just so that you know, have spoken with Lieutenant Goodell. I don't know if you've worked with him at DNR or not, but we have his support. I don't know if you've talked to Chief Beach. We have his support. We do have the Chief of Bluffton's support. So the original meeting that you were at was a discussion to get this going. We have the support of everyone. No one disagrees with us. And then in the other comment that I want to make is the one I'm going to repeat to the best of my knowledge what Sheriff Tanner said. It was an honor to have him be on that call because he probably is the lead law enforcement officer in our county. And he participated greatly. For you that were there, you saw that and listened to that. He supports us in totality. The problem is, as you were saying earlier, so we have a world here, an environment here right now that still somewhat is anti-police. So to pull a car over, an officer has got to be extremely cautious of what they're doing. And the reason they pull the car over needs to be one in which is actionable. So some of these instances, they don't pull cars over because we haven't really got the word out yet. So some of these people don't speak English, and the officers can't even correspond with them. I mean, so we're doing what we're doing, but we got to take it to another level. So that's why we're not going to go and start writing tickets immediately. We're going to phase this in over a period of time. We're hopefully going to educate. That's the vision that was sent, and that's the vision that we all walked out of that room with. So, and then just plain and simply on top of that, as you said, you know, manpower. We need manpower. So, but please don't. I'm not saying we're not doing a good job. What I am saying is this is overwhelming us. On my drive yesterday up to Beaufort County Public Schools, I took a picture and I forwarded it to Dave Wilhelm of the truck. The side of a truck, a hauler, the tarp came up and literally a dozen, well, that might be exaggerating, several bags flew right over the top of my Jeep and right on 170. And it's just like, those are the kind of things. He didn't have it secured. Well, he damn well is going to know in 2024 that if it's not secured, and if that happens, and it just happens to be a law enforcement officer like Artrell or another, that guy's going to get pulled over. And one last note, and that is that fines can be up to $1,000, but many fines get thrown out and other fines are reduced to $50. So it's no big
Excuse me,
deal.
Randy.
It costs the guy.
Randy, just to
Yep.
speak on the fines, I remember in the meeting y'all were saying that the fines aren't steep enough, so it sends the wrong message. Like, our job isn't to make sure we give the person the biggest fine possible. It's about correcting the behavior. When we issue that ticket, when we give them the inconvenience of taking the day off of work and going to court and getting that ticket and also paying that fine, whatever the courts reduce it to, and also doing community service, they're going to remember it. So, I mean, the fines, that's a legislative thing. That's above us, but we're enforcing now.
So it's like.
Thank you, Artrell. Well said.
So it's like being in the Marine Corps. You do more with less.
Absolutely, that's true.
I know. Can I say something real quick? Randy, great. I didn't even know that was all going on, the education and enforcement and stuff behind the scenes. I think each one of us represents an area that could probably support marketing, could support the education. There's probably a lot to do. Is there I have some meetings with the town coming up near next week. Is there anything that you can say right off the top of the bat that you would like me to start discussing with them, asking them for? Obviously we have support. Anything tangible that you can think of, or should we discuss it, at a different time and maybe make some?
I would say this, Mike. First, thanks, and the second, absolutely yes. It's on my agenda that I have not gotten to yet. Like I said, I've been meaning to call you because you're the go-to guy on this. So, but I think it'd be more appropriate because I think Bill's got a few things he wants to talk about. I think it'd be more appropriate for me to call you later today, this evening, tomorrow, whatever, because there definitely are some things. And then also, Sheriff Tanner did make a comment. Artrell, you were there. Maybe you can remember there was a comment about an ordinance change on Hilton Head Island, and it was asked to be investigated. So I don't know if what we spoke about earlier in the long rendition of the resolution that recently got passed, but if that's the ordinance change that was being referred to, but we would like to have parallel ordinances throughout the whole county, not one for Hilton Head, one for Port Royal, one for Bluffton, so forth and so on. So
I think to clarify that a little bit, and I'll find out for sure what the ordinance change was. But if I'm not mistaken, there's been a lot of changes in, and I don't know I think maybe it is written as an ordinance, but it's the ordinance in the town of Hilton, how the recyclers report to the town of Hilton. That I think is the big change, which you're right. We really should discuss that, and I'll look into it, find out the details. What they're trying to do is show more accountability for the haulers, and they're trying to get to the, is with their little bit of influence that they can, trying to peg them down to what's going on with the recycling and prove where their recycling is going. So I think that's what you're talking
about. Yes. So can we have an offline coffee or just conversation on the phone, because I know you're busy, about that, and then we can share with everyone. And then again, we're going to just spread this like wildfire through all of our districts. So, and each and every one of us are going to go and talk to our councilman or councilwoman, and we're going to explain this is where we're at. You need to be well informed. Please remember, they get inundated. It's like, like Lawson. He gets inundated with dozens and dozens and dozens of things. And so a lot of times these things just get pushed aside. So it's like the comment earlier about the Marines. The Marines are the first in line to run into battle. That's how I understand it. Semper Fi. But bottom line is we got to be the first ones to run into battle right now, and we got to do it collectively. We just have got to do it. So
I have a comment relative to
Mike,
the
we're talking.
Hilton Head document. You spoke about organic composting. Very dangerous territory, being so nebulous. Are you suggesting is that you're going to compost animal waste, sludge, food waste. What are you talking about when you talk about organic composting? The same with our solid waste plan. You're using a cutesy term that has very definitive definition to it. And I get concerned when you use these kind of loose terms all over because it means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. I ran a 40-acre yard waste compost facility. Are you talking about yard waste or are you talking about food waste? In Europe, they have collection of food waste for composting. No, please define what the heck you're talking about rather than using these nicey cutie terms of organic composting.
So Bill, to your point with that thing, it was actually written very loose like that because you're right. When you say organics, it can mean a million different things.
Absolutely.
When it comes time to address it, and when we define, it hasn't been defined. That's why it's a loose term. And so once we come down to where we decide what exactly we can and cannot do, really at this point, all of that's open to the table and it will be defined down to terms that make sense. But it was written like that very loosely, where it didn't use very specific terms so that there's freedom to act with whatever possibility there is.
Then it should be written that way, not just using a cutesy term, organics.
I mean, it's a resolution. It's a resolution of support. It's not a ordinance. It's not.
Well, our solid waste management plan talks about organic composting, but doesn't do any definition of what it is. I come from an area where we had bedding from horse and cattle farms. We've had food. We've had all sorts of things organic, but I'm not sure that's what you really mean.
I think that note is well taken from my perspective. And Bill, you and I talked about this. I think we need to be clearer in our definition. I know that Dave Wilhelm is looking at different technologies to address different types of waste. I don't know if that pertains to this in particular, but it might. So I agree with you that we need to write definitions that everyone understands.
Correct.
Because
I think more to the point, it's actually adhere to the definitions given to us by the state. Is that right, Bill?
No. I don't think you'll find a definition of organic composting. It's too loose of a term.
Well, as we transition through this, again, I just want to say that I agree with you, Bill, that we do need to become much more tertiary and drill down on what are we really talking about. You know, we're not talking about buckets, but rather we're talking about bowls. And so I agree. I agree.
If you want to implement something, you got to be specific in what you want to implement, and it's on a schedule that really you have to know what the heck you're doing.
Well, that's why part of the reason why I got the guys from Columbia involved in all this stuff, because they're going to go along on this ride throughout the year with us, and you know, hopefully they're going to keep us in bounds, if I can say it that way. And maybe they can help us, and there's other things that possibly they can do. But I think from the state level all the way, you know, through the county and municipality, it needs to be consistent. And I've never said that to you before, Bill, because that was disagreed upon, and I didn't want to put myself in the middle. But yeah. So I don't know what else to say other than we need to define it very specifically. Coming out of Columbia all the way through Beaufort, it could be the town of Hilton Head or Bluffton or whatever. So I think we could put in a check mark by that one. And from this day moving forward, I think Angel will delineate in further terms so that we know what we're talking about. And if we don't, then we communicate and say to one another, please explain, so that we all are on the same page.
That kind of gets me into ordinance 62. Is it making any progress?
Ordinance 62, the legal staff has asked the consultant to review it. There are some things in that goes hand in hand with another ordinance. And so the consultant is making sure that all terms are the same. It's not the other ordinance isn't a solid waste one, but it does have some things in there that goes hand in hand. So right now they're trying to make sure everything lines up with both of them.
Are we ever going to see it as a draft, or are we going to be shocked with getting a 62 and then have to comment on all of the problems with it?
I can put in a request that the board would like to see the ordinance.
In
Yeah,
draft?
we want a draft,
Draft.
definitely. We'd like to see the draft.
Whoa, what is ordinance 62?
It's actually a section of ordinances. 62 is a section. There's a lot of dashes that come by.
Chapter 62 is the solid waste component of the.
Okay, because y'all just went. Okay.
Which my next question is, what is the real status of the solid waste management plan? I never heard that we had a request to vote on it, but it went to committee, it went to the board, and now it's apparently a final document, but I can't find it on the internet.
It's available online in the agenda for PFC and for council.
Angel, could you please send that out in a PDF to everybody that's in the room and on the phone, so that they have a copy individually and they don't have to look it up?
Sure, I can do that.
Because I tried going onto
That'd be
the
great.
internet to get a copy of the final, and you just can't get it.
Angel, when you said it was on the agenda, was that a previous meeting it was already voted upon?
Yes, so with the meeting where it went to public facilities and the meeting where it went to council, it's in those agenda packets where it was presented.
So we will, on a go forward in the next few days, have that. And Angel's going to be sending out dates of a workshop. We will pick a day, and then we can address it at that time, Bill.
Okay, next is, apparently there's a contract, $300-some thousand for the MRF. Has that been approved by the council?
At this particular moment, I would say that that all conversations as it pertains to the MRF are in investigation and in due diligence. They're looking hard. They're trying to understand. That's how I understand it, that there are no conclusions at this point. If you're hearing something like that, I'm out of that loop. So
I'm more concerned in the design aspect that when I read our report, solid waste management plan, it's more oriented around the convenience centers, as opposed to we got 62,000 apparent curbside collection points. Is that coming to the MRF? Or is it for the convenience centers and the three cities?
once again, I would answer the same exact way, because I would be answering in such a way that it's how we plan to implement it, but that decision hasn't been made yet. So I would have to defer and say when we have our workshop, I'll be more educated and knowledgeable. But I don't think it's been delineated down into those terms, Bill. I really don't. I think that they're scratching their heads and that they're convinced that they're going to get it done this year. And I know Neil has tremendous passion for this, along with Dave. But I really don't know specifics.
Somebody has to kind of look at some reality. You're telling me nobody knows what it's really designed for yet. It's investigating, and you're talking about a year or 2 years. That's
No. We know
I've
what
been
it's
there.
designed. We know what it's going to look like.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do you?
We just have to find. Do we have it designed? Do we know what it's going to look like?
All
In
right. Well,
theory, yes. On blueprint, no.
handling streams from the convenience center where you got metal separated, glass separated, is a totally different animal than bringing in commingled from a route.
Correct.
Can I say something, Randy? Would it be pertinent? Neil's not in the room, is he?
No.
No.
Would it be? It'd probably be pertinent if this is possible. You know, all those conversations are delicate. So if it's possible to maybe have him come at least at the next meeting, given that nothing drastic has happened since then, that maybe he can give us a quick update of where they're at and what they're looking at.
Am I understanding that's going to be at the Simmonsville Road site?
What?
I think Dave and Neil have all the information for the MRF.
Well, when it went to committee, they were talking about a 5-acre site at the Simmonsville Road facility.
I thought we were looking at land for the MRF.
Oh, I think it's beyond
Just
that.
looking at land for the MRF. I didn't think it was,
Yep, there's a communication problem here.
because
Yeah, I think it's premature talk until we actually have definitive,
we don't have,
locations.
But that was in committee. They mentioned where the location was, a 5-acre site.
I think if I could be wrong. I mean, I definitely could be wrong, but I don't think they
watched the
said it in a
presentation.
definitive way. I think it was more in a suggestive way that this is what they're looking at. Not we bought this and we're doing that. I might be wrong on that. But I know that's like, what Mr. Wilhelm works on, often. And I, at this exact moment in time, could not sit and tell you where a MRF's going to be, and
How can you write an engineering contract if you don't know where it's going to be?
So once again, we're going to have a workshop that's coming up. That I think that'd be a great time to bring that up, because your question was loaded, in which I could not possibly answer, and I don't want to get into that type of a conversation. I want to try to keep this positive moving forward, and there are answers, but I don't have them.
All I can say is I've been there, designed, operated, town personnel. I know how long it takes. I know the changes that have to take, and that's when you have a town-wide collection program that it gets very frustrating.
Oh, I understand your position. You've heard a lot of frustration from me, and I'm sorry. I don't mean to be as frustrated as I am, because there's so many good things going on. But we just can't go fast enough. Maybe it's because it's been so long that we've been working on this. But Bill, I know we're so much closer. It's like hitting a triple. I mean, we're not running out of the box towards first base. I mean, right now we're at second base, and we're looking at our triple and how we're going to slide into the base. I have so much confidence in Neil and Dave, but I hate to say anything that I don't know to be 100% factually true. I hate to say that, but I have heard many different areas of speculation and ideology, and it's just not fair to them, because I don't know. But when we have this workshop, we'll have more information. And Angel, if I haven't already said it, please include Neil and Dave Wilhelm on that invitation for the workshop.
Okay?
Bill, your points are all very valid, and I see your frustration. You know, I came from ophthalmology, you know, and it's, for me, some things are really, really clear, and for others, you know, they can't understand it. And, you know, it's very frustrating. I completely get it. So, but I think moving forward, we've had a good meeting. I think moving forward, we've discussed a lot of productivity. We just need to bring it all together, have a nucleus, and represent one body as a whole. And that would include, as I've said, councilman, through yourself, through the board, and as an individual. And if we can do that, I think this thing's going to get pushed through a hell of a lot faster, and it's going to get a lot more attention, because I know Eric's got about 25 things that cross his desk every day. And as soon as he starts to focus on one thing, he gets pulled to something else. And then it gets defocused, and then it goes away for 3 weeks. You know how the system works. You've run businesses. So that's why we got to come at this, and we got to be so laser focused. Bill, do you have any other questions or any other comments that you want to make?
I got tons of comments, but it won't be useful here.
Okay. So then, moving on, trying to complete this within an hour and 15, 20 minutes or so. Public comment, we've already somewhat addressed that. And then board requests, we've been doing nothing but making requests back and forth, of which we're going to hold each other accountable to this time. So is there anything at all that anyone would like to bring up before we adjourn? Okay, let me say this. Thank you for being there. I apologize that I'm not. In fact, this is that, again, I just can't emphasize it enough. I ran companies. You got to say if you're going to come or you're not going to come, and you got to bring some knowledge and some productivity with you. And everyone in that room is capable of that. Everyone is. So let's please adhere to that and hold each other accountable to that on a go-forward basis. We will be meeting in the next few weeks. So in that, Angel will be sending out, and hopefully Neil and Dave will be able to get it in their calendars. If not, hopefully we can be malleable enough that we can change the dates or whatever, because we right now are at an apex and we're ready to bust out and go, and we're just holding ourselves back.
And I'm sorry, can I interrupt real quick?
Go.
Just while you're on board request. So I think a lot of this also comes from the fact we hadn't had a meeting for a while. I know we had the December, and I saw what happened there, but can we clarify what our meeting schedule should look like moving forward, and maybe kind of come to agreement at every other month?
That was handed out. That was handed out a long time ago.
Yeah, what was it?
It's every other month, and I can send that list back out to everyone.
Okay, and I'm saying thank you. Sorry.
But I propose that is not good enough. I propose that we would possibly talk about maybe more meetings, because if you go 60 days, I mean, things can get really hot and they can turn cold in 60 days. So I'm thinking if we could go every 6 weeks or so and keep pushing forward, we would be one heck of a lot more successful. And I'm certainly willing to give the time.
Randy, I'd like to second that. I think that a lot of the frustration is coming around just lack of connection on the meetings, momentum. I'm not a big fan of a lot of meetings. Believe me, that's not. I typically wouldn't be like, oh, let's go to a meeting every month when it's not necessary. But I do think that given Bill's frustration, your frustration, but I think we need to discuss that, obviously, because everybody has needs and may or may not agree. But I would look for more frequent meetings, even up to a month. And I can probably, I
would
can't
agree with
see
you.
everybody. I'm sure you're cringing, but
Well, we've got Zoom. I mean, we've got Zoom. We can do this. We know what each other look like. So I
the
think
Zoom
we can do
option's
this
great.
very effectively. Yeah. Yeah. Be it audio or if you want to do it visual. However, I think the matter is getting our minds together, you know, as frequent as possible so that we can keep the momentum flowing. That's like a all-in-one statement for me. Because that's where I get frustrated and sometimes think I'm just going to quit because, you know, I just feel like we're never going to get over the fence.
I think
I would, yeah.
board schedules, you know, it's very reasonable to slow down when things aren't hit up, you know, and do every other month. But right now we've got like that Merck's coming online. If we've got all this educational and component, things are heating up. So it may be time for us to look at going back to monthly for the short term while things are hot, you know, and then, you know, if things slow down, we'll revisit, you know.
I think that's great. And I would love to, when we have our breakout or our session that's coming up, our meeting, I would love if we could possibly make assignments to one another because there are many voids in things I'm working on. For example, yesterday at the Beaufort County Public School meeting, very, very specific question on, you know, as it pertains to pH levels in the May River, this, that, and the other. You know what I mean? If we add all of our knowledge together in that room and on the phone, we know a person that is an expert in that capacity. So if we talk, we can go to that expert and we can get that information and include it in the curriculum. So there are holes throughout all the work that we're doing. There are many holes. So I just encourage so much that we come together as one. So it can't be done by just two or three of us. And so, okay, I'm now turning into rambling Randy, which I do not want to do. So if that's it, I'll go ahead and motion to adjourn. And the folks that came for public comment, thank you for coming. I look forward to your phone call. And Mike, I will be calling you back later this afternoon, if that's okay.
Yes, sir.
So is there a second?
Second motion.
To adjourn? Okay, guess that's it, right, Angel?
Yep, that's everything.
Okay.